no need to get so excited. Wei Wuxian quickly grabbed hold of him. Lan Wangji, as if avoiding a snake or scorpion, threw both Wei Wuxian and the item away. Beechin unsheathed swiftly, following a furious shout from Lan Wangji. Wei Ying! Wei Wuxian protectively retrieved the item, but by the time he tried to block Lan Wangji's sword, it was too late. He hadn't even had time to draw his own sword, Swibian, and instead used the scabbard awkwardly to protect himself while fleeing, saying, "Why so angry? If you don't like it, just don't look. This beauty scroll, plenty of people want to see it, even if they beg on their knees. I won't give it to them. Are you sure you really don't want to look?" Lan Wangji firmly declared. "No," Wei Wuxian said. All right. If you don't want to look, then won't look. No fighting. I won't fight you." True to his word, he didn't fight back. Lan Wangji didn't intend to hurt him and couldn't pull back in time, almost cutting him. With a clang, Swibian fell to the ground. Wei Wuxian furrowed his brow, looking at his palm. "Are you hurt?" Lan Wangji seemed somewhat uneasy. Sure enough, there was a small cut, but besides that, Wei Wuxian's fingers were covered in countless tiny puncture wounds, as if he had either been sneaking durian or teasing a little hedgehog. "Oh," Wei Wuxian said nonchalantly. "I pricked myself while learning needlework today." He carelessly wiped his hand on his shirt. Thankfully, his clothes were dark, so the bloodstains were barely noticeable. Lan Wangji frowned slightly but didn't comment on his hygiene habits. After a moment, he asked, "You attended a needlework class?" Wei Wuxian replied, "Yes, I did. I was idle anyway, so why not?" In the needlework class, naturally, all the students were young girls, and even the instructor was a female seamstress from the Lan family's tailoring shop. Wei Wuxian sat prominently among the girls, focused on learning each stitch, surprisingly fitting into the scene seamlessly. He sketched well, and his hands were neither clumsy nor awkward, but the tedious and mind-numbing work was too much for him. He couldn't concentrate, and after a few stitches, he would start chatting with the girls next to him. The result was a barely passable pattern, but the stitches were as thick as a man's body hair, and the threads were sparse and uneven, clearly done perfunctorily. Most of the girls were embroidering flowers or birds, and the more refined ones were working on bamboo, orchids, plum blossoms, or chrysanthemums, or the various swirling cloud patterns favored by the Lan clan. However, Wei Wuxian chose to be different, and embroidered a pair of kissing figures, which drew a chorus of giggles and teasing from those around him. The female instructor took one look and rated it as crude work, vulgar design, making a face behind the instructor's back. He muttered, "How is this vulgar? It's clearly fun. Look, who does this resemble?" The girls exchanged glances with each other, all shaking their heads. A voice suddenly piped up. "I think it looks like Lan Wangji." Everyone laughed, teasing her for being lovesick. Wei Wuxian then pointed at the figure kissing with Lan Wangji and asked, "And who is this?" The girl replied, "Naturally, it's me." The others jeered at her for being shameless, while some started to argue. "No, it's me. It's me. It's gotta be me." The situation became chaotic for a while, and Wei Wuxian quickly interjected, Ladies, you're all wrong. Why would I randomly embroider Lan Wangji? This figure is me." Someone, puzzled, asked, "Then who is the one next to him?" Wei Wuxian winked at her and said, "What? You can't even recognize yourself?" The girl was taken aback, and it took her a moment to react, her face turning bright red. She scolded, You rascal!" Laughter and playful scolding erupted around them, with everyone teasing Wei Wuxian. He said with complete self-assurance, "Why are you all constantly thinking about Lan Wangji? I'm much more handsome than he is. Besides, what's so great about Yunxian? Lotus Pier is much more fun. The food and drink are infinitely better, I say. Would you all like to come to Yunmeng for a visit? I'll take you to pick lotus pods and hunt mountain pheasants." Many of the young ladies had not even caught a glimpse of Lan Wangji for several days. Previously, in their smaller households, they stood out and dreamed of marrying into the prestigious Lan clan. Now, having come to this grand, prominent family with centuries of legacy, their eyes were open to a more splendid world, making their hopes seem even more distant. To them, Lan Wangji was like an unattainable peak or a celestial figure. Meanwhile, the young man beside them, Wei Wuxian, when observed closely, had bright, clear eyes and perfect white teeth, with an engaging and lively gaze. From afar, he appeared strikingly handsome and full of vitality. In both appearance and talent, he was no less than Lan Wangji. So why chase after something so distant when there was someone just as remarkable right beside them? These days, Wei Wuxian had been immersing himself among the ladies, being approachable and charming, which had stirred many hearts secretly. Now, with a slight unveiling of that thin veil, he began inviting them, one by one, to Yunmeng. Some of the girls were genuinely moved, chatting with him eagerly, subtly inquiring about his birth date and age, hoping their families could ask a matchmaker to find out their compatibility. Perhaps fate would truly link them, and they could become a wonderful couple. Wei Wuxian shared his birth date and age nonchalantly, then boldly patted the table, saying, "It's settled then. When I return to Yunmeng, I'll invite you all over for some fun." After hearing about Wei Wuxian's charming escapades in the needlework class, Lan Wangji's expression had already darkened considerably. Just then, Wei Wuxian, in his smugness, took out a handkerchief embroidered with kissing figures and waved it in front of him, saying, "How about this? Isn't it fun?" "Nonsense," Lan Wangji responded curtly. Turning away coldly, Wei Wuxian called after him, "Oh, come on, little old-fashioned. I've got date with beauties, as a noble disciple of the Gusu Lan clan. Shouldn't you be the most cultivated? Don't you have the magnanimity to help me? Come on, let me escape this sea of bitterness." Lan Wangji remained silent. Wei Wuxian continued, "You see, we've been fighting every day. Has it led to any results? What's the point of dragging this out indefinitely? Let's compete in something else. If I win, you let me go. How about it?" Lan Wangji remained unmoved. Wei Wuxian leisurely paced a few steps on the rooftop, looking at his own battered and scarred hands, and suddenly said, "Let's arm wrestle. How about that?" Upon hearing this, Lan Wangji said nothing but let Wei Wuxian pull him, both gracefully floating down to the courtyard, where they found a stone table. Wei Wuxian animatedly boasted about his undefeated and formidable battle records in Yunmeng, while Lan Wangji, with his long eyelashes slightly lowered, listened to his endless chatter with a serene and indifferent demeanor. The match began, and within just 10 seconds, Wei Wuxian was soundly defeated by Lan Wangji with a thud. One battle lost. A second battle lost again. After the third battle ended, Lan Wangji leisurely stood up, his long sleeves gracefully floating as he walked away, leaving Wei Wuxian bewildered in place. He scratched his head and thought, "I'm in terrible shape tonight. I'll fight again another day. Hey, little old-fashioned, are you on duty again next week?" Lan Wangji's lips moved slightly. He initially wanted to say no, but after a quick sidelong glance, he replied, "What do you want?" Wei Wuxian moved and tried to relax his stiff neck and said, "Could it be you again? Don't they change personnel at your Yunshin? What bad luck do I have to run into you every time? Never mind. Let's compete in something else next week." The next day, Lan Wangji asked Lan Xichen for another week of night patrol duty. Lan Xichen, noticing Lan Wangji's excellent spirits and good complexion recently, agreed without questioning further. Lan Xichen, surprised, asked, "Wangji, why do you keep wanting to take duty?" "Are you really getting enough rest?" Lan Wangji replied. Enough. Lan Xichen scrutinized his younger brother, then slowly asked, "Has anything interesting happened during the night patrols?" Lan Wangji averted his gaze and calmly said, "Recently, someone has been ignoring the curfew and frequently going out at night. I'm enforcing the family rules." Lan Xichen said, "For an ordinary mischievous disciple. There's no need for you to personally apprehend him," Lan Wangji replied. "He's not a disciple. He is extremely cunning, and others cannot catch him. Moreover, his swordsmanship is quite good. I wouldn't trust anyone else to handle it." Lan Xichen squinted his eyes. "Swordsmanship? Quite good? You mean he's on par with you?" Lan Wangji remained silent for a moment, and then nodded slightly. Lan Xichen was surprised. "Someone actually fought to a stalemate with you? And this person isn't a Lan disciple." He thought for a moment, and a glint of realization appeared in his eyes. Could it be young Master Wei from the Yunmeng clan? Lan Wangji remained silent. Lan Xichen seemed very pleased. "No wonder you've been in such a good mood lately. So, you've been meeting someone at night as well." Lan Wangji was taken aback and took a few deep breaths to calm himself before saying, "Elder brother, I am merely preventing him from breaking the rules and enforcing the family guidelines. Please, don't make such jokes." Lan Xichen just smiled without saying anything.